read. I don't have a sample here with me because I read it online. Yeah, shame on me. Not so much, because it's just very common now that we have a lot of PDFs online. So why not? I mean, you can just go and, especially if you're doing something else, and if it's about very short books, this one has less than 200 pages, so you can all read through very easily. So yeah. Hi, language lovers. I hope you're all doing fine. I certainly have not read all of the greatest authors on earth, but there are such authors that make me feel how I ought to write. James Baldwin is one of those. Be it his essays, be it his novels, all of the characters make me feel such an envy that I don't belong to the places they are set, and yeah, that I'm not playing any role. He's very urban, James Baldwin. So he died in the 80s, late 80s, 87 to be precise, and he wrote a lot about race and sexual identity. Giovanni'sroom is often classified as a gay writing because the main character is homosexual. He struggles with his homosexuality, and yeah, so James Baldwin has this particularity. His writings, his own life comes through, his own struggles come through. So Giovanni'sroom is not different. And it was published in 1956. You can imagine the impact of such a book where homosexuality, relationship with a man, David, the main character, has a relationship with Giovanni in Paris. I'm sure you can imagine how it was impactful to have such a book released in the US at such a turbulent time, in the peak of the civil rights movements, in which James Baldwin participated very intensely and immensely. Through his essays, lectures, he was a great speaker. So he was one of the voices of the civil rights movements. You cannot be the voice if you're not daring enough. And oh boy, James Baldwin was daring. Let me tell you about the reluctance of the publishing of this book. So as I said, James Baldwin was a civil rights movement activist. He obviously, as a black person, was contributing to the cause, yes. And in 1956, although he believes that sexuality is a private matter, he does not believe that the state nor the church should interfere. He knew that sexuality was such a taboo, and this is why he decided to write about this particular book. He often says that the book is not exactly about homosexuality, but rather about the difficulty or the struggles of loving someone, because loving in itself is a struggle, is a great responsibility to love and be loved. So this is the premise under which he says that he wrote the book. But oh boy, it's all about homosexuality. How is it not that theme should be the main theme of the book? Anyway, so the book is set in Paris. Giovanni is an Italian lover, a bartender, and David, the main character, has a girlfriend who was absent by the time he had the affair with Giovanni. The girlfriend was in Spain. She decided to spend some time there thinking about what she really wanted out of the relationship with David. So she went to Spain to think, about her life and about whether she wanted to become a mother and just fulfilling everything that the society would expect from her as a woman. Okay, so this book, since Baldwin at the time, so he had already published his first book in 1953, and he had already written essays. He was giving lectures and writing essays already. So he was an acclaimed within the black community in the U.S. And when he decided to hand this Giovanni'sroom to his publisher rejected, stating that he was actually sparing Baldwin from his fall on releasing such a book. He was advised not to do it, otherwise he would alienate his audience. So he decided to go to England. It was very, very scandalous at the time for two main reasons. First of all, it was very explicit about homosexuality, which was a taboo. And second of all the characters were white, which enraged the black community, especially the civil rights movement, in which he was affiliated, let's say. It didn't look well, because he was supposed to be serving the community. He was supposed to be tackling black issues only and not talking about homosexuality. He managed to publish the book. So later on he says that if he wouldn't write this book, if he wasn't able to write and publish the book, he might as well not write at all, meaning that it was for him very important to discuss such a topic. Not only because it was very personal, because it was all about discussing his struggles, right? As a black man, as an American black man, and as an American black gay man. He said, well, I already feel alienated in America. I mean, he was very, very much ahead of his time. He was very ahead of his time, and he wished to be living obviously in a different world. This is why he emigrated to Paris. Paris at the time was very, very, very much avant-garde. It was the stage of art, and it was the stage of free expression. It has always been known as the state of free expression, Paris, right, throughout the centuries. And in the 50s and the 60s, there was more freedom of speech, let's say, in Paris than in the US. So he just got fed up, and when they told him that he would alienate his audience, he said, well, this is what I am. And James Baldwin was not just a black and gay. He wanted to be perceived, and he wanted to be to establish himself as a writer, full stop, and not as a black writer. And obviously he had to embrace all the civil rights movement, because it pertained to him as well. But he did not want to confine himself or restrict himself. So that's why he decided to emigrate, because his voice and his mouth they were becoming dangerous. That's how he usually says that he was becoming dangerous to himself. Before he got killed, he had to emigrate. Characters. It is very beautifully written. I love. I really enjoyed reading this, just like as much as I enjoy reading all of his books. It makes me feel very happy, and you should really read not only Giovanni's Room to open your mind about um, good writing is, but also about how the struggle for recognition in terms of being homosexual is on earth and um, is being on for decades. Okay, so this book it became not only classic for homosexuals but for literature as a whole. So yeah, it's about struggle. I mean, it was on the time it came out. It came out at the time of civil rights movements, and so he decided to address this issue. And yeah, oh boy, it's a very good book. I love the way he writes about parenting. I love the discussions he has with Giovanni, and I love the discussion he had with Ella when she came back from Spain. And yeah, I mean, he's very philosophical. David, that is not James Baldwin. I'm talking about David, the main character. So he's very philosophical. He was in his late 20s, but the way he talks very philosophically. I would place him in his 40s or something. So yeah, fantastic book, fantastic discussions, beautifully written, and I like the way the characters have been characterized. Yeah, I mean, they just wear their characters very well, and yeah, my favorite character was I think it was Jacques in France. That's my favorite character. Now let me know what your favorite character was, and let me know which bits of the book you liked, and what did you think about the book, and yeah, let me know about it, and comment down below everything what you need or want, and ask questions, and you may ask also whatever you want to ask. Okay, so it's time to go. It's getting dark, and have a lovely week. Thank you very much. Bye. Ooh. Ooh.